Hey guys, as video creators, I know you're always on the hunt for the next video tutorial that can improve your video game. And there's a ton of stuff on After Effects, but not so much Davinci Resolve. And that's what I'm here to change. And shout out to After Effects Basics for coming up with these effects inside of After Effects, but I'm gonna show you how to do it inside of Davinci Resolve because, well, we all know what the better software is. Let's get into it. First, let's focus on the Scribble Effect. This effect is really gonna make your videos stand out. I added this to a face, but you could add this to whatever you might want. There's a couple ways that you could track these scribble effects to a face. You could use a tracker and just track a point on the face, but instead I'm gonna use a planar tracker because this is gonna rotate the perspective of whatever scribbles we're adding to the face. Now let's select our face to be tracked. I'm gonna make sure that I exclude the eyes because I know that they're gonna open and close and that is going to mess with our track. Change the tracker from point to hybrid point/area, hit set and track backwards. And once that's done, hit go and track forwards. And now create a planar transform. You can delete your planar tracker because we won't be needing it anymore. Now you can find some scribble animations from any online website. But don't worry, I'm also going to show you how to do it natively inside of Davinci Resolve. Grab your scribble animation, plug it into the planar transform, and plug that on top of your timeline. Now add a transform node before the planar transform and resize your scribble so it properly fits on your footage. You can add your second piece of media, merge it over top of the first transform, and then add another transform to resize that. I'm gonna place it over the eyes. I'm gonna duplicate it by dragging it over top of the merge node, which adds another merge node. Now you can add a transform between these two, so between the merge and the first transform right there. And then with this transform, you can resize it and move it to the other eye. And I'm also gonna flip the image so that it looks a little bit different than the first X. Now you can add as many graphics as you want, just make sure you do it all before the planar transform. To flicker between different scribbles, we're going to add a dissolve node. We're gonna place this before the planar transform and plug our new scribble into the dissolve node. Then with another transform, we're going to resize that so it fits onto the face. Let's add some more media and merge that over the transform and fit it onto our subject. Now let's keyframe between the two dissolve inputs by setting a keyframe at 0 and then a keyframe at 1. Now you can add some grunge and film overlays and you got the final effect. But I promised to show you how to do it in Davinci Resolve, so this is how you do it. Add a background node. Now set the alpha all the way down to 0. Next, add a paint node. Change the stroke to a single stroke in the top left and make sure that you're on the first frame of the sequence. Go into stroke animation and change it to limited duration with a duration of 4 frames. Go into the brush controls, remove the softness and adjust the size. Now let's add another speed node. Change the delay on the speed node to 0.5. Now view your paint node by selecting 2 on your keyboard and draw the shape that you want. Now select your time speed and also press 2. This is gonna pull it up into your viewer. You're gonna see that the X that you just drew is half transparent. This is called ghosting, and this lets you see where to draw your next X without overlapping the first one. So like you saw, you're gonna draw your X, you're gonna go forward a bunch of frames till you find the next transparent frame, draw your X again. Then you're gonna repeat this process over and over. Now you can delete your time speed node and you got your final result. Now, you don't want to do this for every single frame, so let's add a time stretcher, set the keyframe at 0 at frame 0, and then see how long your sequence is, minus 39 frames, so I'm going to put frame 39 at frame 39. Then I can go into the spline editor, grab my source time, and set this to ping pong. This is just going to repeat my sequence over and over, giving the scribble effect. Now let's plug this into our planar transform, add a transform, and resize it to our subject. Let's add a glow node and prism blur for some added effect. Now you can see you can get some pretty cool scribble results inside of Davinci Resolve. I just want to say a huge thank you to Audiio for sponsoring this video and supporting this channel. If you're looking for incredible music and sound effects, Audiio is my platform of choice. Because here's the deal, you can use my code VANBEEK at checkout and get 70% off your first year of unlimited downloads on Audiio. That's just $60 for an entire year. What really sets Audiio apart for me is Hans AI. It's like ChatGPT, but for music. I just tell it what my video is about, like an emotional real estate tour or slow-mo campfire montage, and it gives me spot-on recommendations that fit the vibe perfectly. Plus, I use link match all the time. When a client sends me a Spotify song they love, I just drop the link into Audiio and it finds a nearly identical match from their licensing catalog. It's a game changer. Whether you're creating for YouTube, your clients, or your personal brand, Audio's Pro license covers both personal and commercial work, so you're protected. Again, use code VanBeek at checkout for 70% off your first year. That's only $60. Don't miss out. Next up is a trick that so many of you guys have asked for, the 3D floating building effect. This one is sure to impress your mom. To start, we need to create a clean plate of our footage. So we need to remove this tower from the background. Right-click the viewer on the color page, grab a still, and then select that still and export it. Export it with a LUT if you've done any color grading. I'm going to use Photoshop's generative fill to do this, but there are plenty of free websites to do this. I'll list them on the screen right now. Now back inside of Davinci Resolve in Fusion, you're going to drag your clean plate on top of your footage. Now you're going to add a polygon mask and mask around your tower. Make sure to only mask the tower and not the rest of the frame because we want to keep the water and the moving boats intact. Now make a copy of your footage in empty space. Add a polygon mask into empty space and mask around a section of the building. You want to be as precise as possible because the better this is done, the better your end result will look. Now let's take our polygon mask and plug it into our media. Then let's plug that media onto our pipeline. Now it looks like we have a floating hat. Let's add a background node so we can add some 3D shapes. Now merge your media over the background, unlink the original tie, and merge the new merge over that old merge. How many times did I just say merge? Now let's tidy up a little bit and let's add an ellipse mask to mask our background. Keep in mind the ellipse tool is only going to be used with a circular tower. If you're doing any other type of building, you're just going to draw the shape by hand with the polygon tool. Now let's resize and align our ellipse to match the perspective of the shot. So I'm going to make sure that the width is the exact same as the tower or as the shape that I've masked out and decrease the height so that it perfectly makes it look like a 3D shape. Instead of using just a simple black fill, let's change it to gradient. Let's grab the gradient handles and adjust it so that the lighter side is on the light side of the tower, which for me is on the left. And now change the colors of the gradient to match the colors of the tower. Keep the lighter side lighter and the darker side darker. Now you have a shape that you can animate independently. And now this might look overwhelming, but you're just going to repeat this exact same process for each section of the building that you're masking. Just make sure that the background shapes that you're adding always match the perspective of the shot. One thing to keep in mind is how you're layering things. For example, this top section has to layer on top of this bottom section, because if we drag this over top, we want to hide this 3D shape that we've added. But then we run into a problem. This shape appears in front of the other shape, but it looks better if they appear from behind each other. So to fix this, we're going to take our transform from our bottom shape and plug it into the mask of the top shape. But now it only shows up inside of that shape. So let's go into the settings tab of the merge and apply the mask inverted. Now the shape appears from behind the first shape. But now when the shape drops into place, it's being hidden by the 3D shape that we've added. To fix this, we're going to set a keyframe on the alpha channel right before it drops into place. And then once it's dropping into place, we're going to change that to coverage. That now fixes this problem. Now you just have to animate each section of the building. Just make sure that the easing of each animation is really smooth. I like to increase the ease in and decrease the ease out. This makes the pieces click into place rather than smoothly just rotate into place. Add some camera shake and motion blur and you've got an epic final result. Let me know down in the comments below what project you'd use this in. And lastly, one more final effect. This thing works great for anything high energy, so think sports, music videos, or action sequences. Okay, so to start this effect, you're going to have to roto out your subject. You could either use something like Magic Mask, but that's going to be pretty computer intensive. So instead of using Magic Mask, I'm just going to be using a Delta Keyer. I'm going to plug my media into my Delta Keyer, grab the eyedropper, and grab the blue. Then I'm going to go into the premat and select everything that the first pass did not capture. So I'm grabbing these blues and also these dark blacks. Just to make sure that nothing is lost on the bike, I'm going to turn up my clean foreground to fill in those tires. Now add a time speed node. Grab a merge and place it onto your pipeline. Now plug the time speed node into the merge and the Delta Keyer into the time speed. Scrub forward into your clip until you find the frame that you want to freeze. Then hit freeze frame. Without moving your playhead, go to your merge, keyframe blend, and go back one frame and turn it down. Now you can set the blend to 1 or to like half opacity, like 0.5. That's what I'm gonna do later in this video. Now scrub forward and find the next frame that you want to freeze. Repeat the same steps as before. Add a time speed node, merge it onto your pipeline, then plug the Delta Keyer into the time speed node. Now hit freeze frame, and then without moving your playhead, go to merge, keyframe blend, and then go back one frame and turn it all the way down. Now let's repeat this process for each frame that we want to freeze. I'm also going to turn my opacity of my bikes down to 50% because I think it looks a little bit better. Let's enhance this effect even more. Add a motion trails node. Plug the delta keyer into the motion trails, and now check this use key / mask input. Increase the trail length and decrease the drop off. After that, let's add a motion blur node. This is just going to muddy up this trail a little bit more. Let's increase the motion blur to the max setting and change the mode from faster to better. Now let's merge this back onto the timeline, and you're going to see that our subject has nice motion trails following it. But let's make this effect even better by adding a color corrector and adjusting the color so it matches the color of the bike. Let's also add a glow node to spice it up. Now we need to bring our bike back into the front of the scene, so let's add another merge. Let's grab our delta keyer and drag it all the way over to the merge, plug it in, and now you can see our character is layered on top. And just like that, you have an awesome effect that you can use for sports, music videos, and more. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And again, if you guys ever have any ideas for what you want to learn inside of DaVinci Resolve, just drop them down in the comments below. See ya.